What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Almost Functional 40K. It's been about a month, but Aiden and I are back together.
Finally back together. We took a long hiatus, both of us each,
Yeah.
traveling right before the whole world exploded for Space Wolves.
Yes. We got a lot of stuff that happened in the last couple weeks.
Wow, am I excited to talk about it? So, yeah, how
Yeah,
you been?
I've been good. Got a couple test games in, a lot of theory crafting in my head, but we'll see how this goes. We got new missions coming in 2 weeks, so
Completely different meta, new book. It's
yeah.
going to be wild.
Well, also, I was telling someone, I was like, it's kind of nice that our stuff's coming around the same time, so we basically learn our new codex with the new rules as opposed to learning the new book, then getting new rules, or learning the new rules, then getting the new book. Like we're just learning it
Right,
all at once.
right. And we could be the new kid on the block. I think there's going to be some tweaks to some of the old hitters like Yanari and Ultramarines. And this book is looking to be strong. I'm
Yep.
excited for it.
Yep. And the data slate's supposed to be out sometime around or before the 7th. So this week or next week, I'm expecting the new data
Ooh,
slate to drop.
yeah, that'll be good.
Yep. So that being said, I'll go ahead and pop up the codex, and we can just start looking at stuff.
Ooh, first question.
Yeah.
Run Stormlance without Wolf Cav characters. Yeah, man, that was the biggest bummer. Thunderwolf Cavalry got an upgrade and they got a downgrade at the same time. The biggest nerf to Thunderwolf Cavalry is they lost the ability to get Blood Surge, which was a huge part of how Stormlance and Thunderwolf Cavalry played. They're now just really good unit. They're still really good, amazing in Stormlance, good in any army that can get lethals or +1 to wound. They're good skirmishers. I still am going to try Thunderwolf Cavalry. And Stormlance, I think, is still really viable. It could be one of our top 3 detachments.
Well, because Thunderwolf's a lot cheaper now. Because it used to be it's 120 for 3, 240
Yep.
for 4, and then you had about 200 points of characters in them, say. So those were really expensive units. Now it's 100 for 3, 200 for 6. So now you can run a bunch of Thunderwolves and really use them as the jail and have
Yep.
like some real damage hitters like head takers.
Yeah.
The Terminator pretty good. Some shooting with the Iron Priest, rapid firing, like have some real damage following them up. As before, they were kind of your jail and your damage, which worked okay. But honestly, in the end, if they can with 3 damage going in, so they'll still hit some stuff, but then you have points for bringing real stuff behind them. Might end
Yeah.
up being better in Stormlance.
It actually could be. I'm very curious. The big problem with Stormlance in the previous edition, you named it. Wolves were kind of our trying to do everything for us. We were missing out on some damage. And so I think we'll find as we get into this, the damage in this book went up in shooting and in melee, even just generic characters, generic data sheets, pretty damn good damage. So Stormlance is a real threat now.
I don't feel the damage went up compared to Champions of Russ, but it
Right.
probably went up due to other
In
detachments.
Stormlance, it definitely went up, and also the shooting damage went up. We actually shoot pretty hard now because of a. So yeah, I'm excited for it. Stormlance is going to be really good.
And now your infantry moves 7, so you already get an extra inch in the Stormlance.
Yep, even faster.
Deep Strike Logan or RJX unit, turn 1, up kind of in the middle with Logan's rule, and now they can advance and charge out from there. I think there's a lot of cool stuff you can do.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of attachments opened up. This book is such a weird book, but I think it's going to be a deep book.
Yep. So let's just run over the army rules real quick. We still have Oath. Curse of the Wolfen, I really, really like. This was one of my biggest problems with Wolfen before was they couldn't get OC. Now with the 6 inches of a Space Wolf character or 12 inches of a Wolf Priest, Wolfen get 1 OC, and Wolfen Dreads and Murderfang get 3 OC. So that's really, really nice. It is limited to Space Wolf character, which means it's only characters from the book. I have seen some people trying to do it with like combi lieutenants and stuff.
No.
Like, unfortunately, those don't trigger it because they don't have the Space Wolf keyword. Hopefully down the line, if Wolves struggle a little bit, they'll hopefully free up some of that restrictive stuff and just make it a different Astartes. Because I think that would unlock a lot of cool traits. And the fact that none of our book characters can join non-book, none of our supplement characters can join non-supplement units, and none of the core rulebook core Space Marine characters can join any of our units. So it's
It's such a weird
really, really
restriction.
restricted.
Yeah. We have this weird new mechanic, which is unique to Space Wolves in that they name the specific Space Wolves trait keyword. And a lot of the stratagems, a lot of the enhancements, some of the sagas are locked specifically to that keyword. That's kind of the bad news. It's very restrictive. The good news is every single Space Wolf character kind of slaps. Like the character suite is incredible.
There's not a bad character in the book.
Yeah.
The only problem is you won't bring some of them just because of points, because you wanted to bring something else. But it's not because, that's a bad character. It's because I just chose to go this other route.
Yeah, and Wolfen with OC, actually one of their weak points. So they could be a really strong data sheet.
Yeah, and we'll see something similar down in Fenrisian Wolves and the Hunting Wolves have the same caveat with
thing.
Character. To get OC, which makes them really, really useful. You string one of them out, 40-point unit to tag an objective. You get your areas and I will show them turn 1, string them back within 6 of the character. Now you threw away something that's even cheaper than the scouts and stuff we were doing it with before.
Right, totally.
All right, so let's go ahead and look at some of the detachments. So first up, we got Saga of the Hunter. The detachment rule is Pax Quarry. Each time I model in a Space Wolf unit from your army makes a melee attack that targets an enemy unit, if that enemy unit is within engagement range of one or more other Adeptus Astartes units from your army, or if the attacking unit contains more models than that enemy unit, add 1 to the hit roll. If your saga is complete, add 1 to the wound roll.
And the saga is just basically kill 3 units in melee.
Yes, and so in Strike Force, and that is triggered by any Adeptus Astartes.
Any Adeptus Astartes unit, not just Space Wolves, but only the Space Wolves get the bonus. +1 to hit, and then +1 to wound if your saga is completed.
Yeah. So you have to have another unit tag teaming unless you outnumber. So I think this is where the Hunting Wolves and the Head Takers kind of do a thing together. And
or a transport and a unit inside.
Yep. And the 20-man Blood Call blobs will normally outnumber their opponent.
Yep. And you're usually always going to get this against vehicles because vehicles are only 1 model. So
Yep. So I think they're pushing you towards running like the transports, Head Takers with wolves, or the Blood Claw blobs. I think could work in there because +1 hit's good, and then if you complete the saga, +1 to wound. And it's only on Space Wolf units, but most lists are going to have most Space Wolf units. I think +1 to wound is really, really nice.
Very nice. This is relative. This is the easiest saga to trigger. Kill 3 units melee.
It's the easiest saga to trigger, but then it's the only one that has other caveats after that.
Yeah.
All the other sagas, your units just get them. The saga's easier to trigger, but then they give you a little hoop to jump through.
Yeah.
To get the rule, even if it's active.
It doesn't seem like the most restrictive. I feel like it would be 8 times out of 10 when you really want to have this buff, you can have it.
Yep. And I feel this is something that people could learn to play around. I could shoot you and kill maybe 1, 2 Head Takers, but then you're going to get into me with +1 to hit and wound. Or I can just pick up your 5, 6 dogs, and then you come in. Yeah, you're gonna have an extra guy or 2, but you're not getting +1 to hit or wound. I feel like they could play around this, or just charge into kill your transport. I think there's ways this one can be played around once people figure out how to trigger it.
I feel like 3 units is achievable, turn 2, maybe turn 3. My question is, does the saga turn on immediately as soon as you kill that 3rd unit, or is it the end of the battle round? Start of the battle round. Well, Quarry. Each time, add 1 to the Quarry. Once your Quarry tally is completed, then it immediately completes. So this could be something where if you've killed 2 units and you're multi-charging, you kill that 3rd unit, and the rest of your army immediately that fight phase gets +1 to wound.
Yep. Let's see, sagas. Yeah, so there's no restriction in the actual saga rule up here. Yeah, so that one would trigger as soon as you killed the 3rd unit.
Yeah.
Which means if you did it right, you could kill something little and then have this trigger for the rest of the army that same phase.
This is a pretty decent detachment rule.
Yep. I've been down on this detachment, but now looking back, reading at it again, it's honestly not bad.
Yeah, I would say this is the second best detachment rule for sure. +1 hit and wound, at least in my opinion. We'll talk about the best one, but this is relatively easy to achieve. +1 hit and wound for Space Wolf units.
Yeah.
Very good, very solid. That's weird because we have a lot of other ways to get +1 to wound. We have the Wolf Priest. We have Ulrich. There's a couple other things that we can get +1 to wound, but this is still pretty damn good.
All right, so the enhancements, we have Swift Hunter, Space Wolf model can get Scout. And here's the thing with the enhancements, none of this can go on Wolfguard Terminators because they can only be joined by Arjek and Logan, who are epic heroes. So these basically can only go on the Priest, the Wolf Priest, the Iron Priest, or the Battle Leader.
Yep.
So, but you could put this on the Battle Leader or the Wolf Priest, put them in a transport with head takers or something, and then as long as it's a dedicated, like an Impulsor, the Impulsor will get a 7-inch Scout.
Pretty amazing. I always kind of theorize about 20-man Blood Claws. This would be one amazing on 20-man Blood Claw, but I still don't know if that's like viable. But it's very interesting. It's a very good strat. Enhancement.
I don't know about one, but 60, 80 Blood Claws could be a thing if anybody wanted to get and paint that many.
But Scout 7 on Impulsor, pretty great.
Yep. Fenrisian and Grit. So this is Adeptus Astartes. So this is anybody. Feel No Pain. I thought some people talking about putting this on a Gravis character who's already like half damage or something.
Yeah.
So that could be a weird thing there. That could be really strong. And the Gravis character with like some aggressors or something maybe. Then we got Wolfmaster. Space Wolf model only. In your command phase, select one friendly Space Wolf unit within 9 of the bearer till start of your next command phase.
Get lethal
Teeth and Claws and Tyrannic. Yeah, so basically this is just Thunderwolves. Regular wolf, his dog attacks would get the lethal.
Yeah, it's this. You would never take this. Lethal hits on 5/1/1 attacks that hit on 4s. It's just not good.
No, I don't think so. Then Feral Rage, Adeptus is another Adeptus Astartes. Model only. Add one of the attacks characteristics or melee weapons equipped by the bearer. Each time the bearer ends a charge move until the end of the turn, add an additional 1. So +1 attack, and if you charge, +2 attacks.
This is okay. I mean, if you have points, throw it on there.
Yep. Yeah, it's not a be all end all, but it's so then we have Envelop and Ensnare fight phase. One Space Wolf unit, excluding monsters and vehicles, from your army that has not been selected to fight. Until the end of the phase, each time a modeling unit makes a pilot or consolidate move, it can move up to 6 inches instead of 3. When doing so, it does not need to end that move closer to the closest enemy model, but find it ends that move as close as possible to the closest enemy unit.
6-inch pilot consolidate.
Yep, and it doesn't have to go toward the closest model, just the closest unit. So there's some shenanigans here with helping you pile into other units, pile on objectives, kill your target, pile into another unit to help trigger someone else getting the bonus, because now you're engaged with that unit when they swing. There's a lot of little intricacies with this. This could be, I really like this strat.
Yeah, me too. I think it's pretty powerful. I've never played with a 6-inch pilot consolidate, but I've heard it's very good.
Yeah. Well, Champions of Russ had a 6-inch consolidate, not pilot. This is both. And neither one of them, both of them can go toward closest unit. So that's that could really give you a chance. So you pile in to the closest unit and really get around to the corner of it, which sets you up. So some of your models might now be closer to a different unit. So so you could really do some funky stuff with this.
Yeah, very good fight phase manipulation.
Yeah. Chosen Prey, your movement phase just after a Space Wolf unit from your army falls back. Till the end of the turn, units able to shoot and declare a charge when your turn it fell back. This is one of the only options for fallback and shoot and charge
do stuff.
Yep, for Space Wolves.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. Sorry, it's not sad. This strat's amazing. I wish it was in all the detachments because if you get tagged on the wrong end, you just kind of stay in combat. Sometimes you can't dig yourself out, especially if you don't have the oath, especially if you don't have CP, or it just can be really detrimental if your opponent charges and ties stuff up. Yeah, this strat's pretty amazing.
If only there was a detachment some in the world that let you do this for free. I say, hey, Aiden, you can't think of any detachment that just let you do this all the time, can you?
No, I cannot. I really cannot.
Yeah, I figured you didn't know of any.
Yeah, as I'm evaluating these attachments, I'm like, well, what if my opponent just like charges a rhino into the corner of my squad? And then what do I do? And so this is really helpful in that. Like,
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, so next we have territorial advantage. Fight phase, just after a unit is destroyed by the Adeptus Astartes unit from your army. So this is one of the few straps that actually affects everything. Select one objective mark you control that your unit's within range of. Basically, you kill a unit, and you get to sticky an objective you're touching.
In fight phase, it's situationally okay.
Well, it's nice because say you charge, say they move a little scout squad or something out onto an objective, some little screening unit. You charge in and kill it, get your area denial, get your secure, but you know that your Fenrisian wolves or whatever it is you send out to kill their little screen is going to die.
Right.
And they know you're going to die, so they don't necessarily have to go over there. They can just shoot you off it. You pop this, now it's sticky. Now they're like, shit, I can't just shoot that little unit off there. I actually have to send a resource there to turn that off, or they're scoring primary.
Yeah, it's pretty decent. It's pretty decent.
So the more I'm reading back into this detachment, I kind of glazed over it before. I'm actually starting to like this a lot.
It has some combos for sure. Did I lose you? You still there? Uh-oh.
Sorry. All right.
Matt, I think we lost you. I think you're back now. Yeah. Ryan's saying they give a ton of all good. Ryan's saying they give a ton of synergy for this book. I think they did. Yeah, they put a lot of thought into it.
Lots of. Oh, there we go. Spectrum's been going in and out here all day. I don't know what's been going on with it.
Dang, sorry, that sucks. Ryan, I think they gave a lot of synergy for the Space Wolf units in this book.
Yes. Well, I'm liking this one. Things that actually affect Adeptus Astartes too.
Yeah. Where it does affect Adeptus Astartes is really good. Yeah.
It says on bounding advance, your movement or charge phase, one Space Wolf infantry or beast unit from your army that has not been selected to move or declare a charge. Until the end of the phase, each time a model unit makes a normal advance, fallback, or charge move, it can move through models, excluding Titanic. When doing so, it can move within engagement range of the models, just not unless making a charge move can't end them.
Yeah, that is quite powerful. Great for getting around move blocks. This is good, but not amazing. I would say if your opponent's smart with their move blocks, you can, even if they can move through models, you can still move block them because you can just like make sure they can't fit their whole unit over your unit. Yeah, it's a good strat. Matt, I think I lost you again. Yeah, exactly.
I'm actually at work, not at home, Jimbo, but yeah. That's my roommate. So I like this one. You can do it in the movement phase and the charge phase. So it costs you, but if you run, you got so you can run over a screen in the movement phase, and then another really nice.
Yeah, situationally
overwhelming onslaught. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. Which strat says excluding monsters and vehicles?
I think it is.
Target one Space Wolf unit excluding monsters and vehicles. That's possible. No monsters, so they either just put that in just to generically get stuff in the future, or planning on bringing.
Ooh.
Because are all the Primarchs? I'm guessing so, because they're not just infantry.
Yeah, Matt, we're kind of having some difficulty hearing you. At least I don't know if it's me or not. Let me check YouTube. But you're cutting out quite a bit. Maybe we can try to readjust. But I'll message you really quick. Hopefully we can get things figured out. But yeah, I guess I'll talk about these next couple of strats. The last couple of strats. Ooh, I've got them right here. Last two strats for, pardon me 1 second. Let me get set up with this. So yeah, Saga of the Hunter. Last two strats, overwhelming onslaught. If an opponent's unit is engaged, it's not just you, Aiden. Okay, good. If an opponent's unit is engaged with 2 of your units or 1 beast unit, you can 1 CP -1 hit in the fight phase. This is like really situational. It's so play aroundable. If like my opponent's like, oh, you have this strat for -1 to hit, let me just charge 1 unit. Yeah, you can potentially heroic, but then you're spending 2 CP for 1 -1 to hit. It's kind of not a great strat. Hey, Matt, how's it going?
Hey, all right. I'm connected to the hotspot on my phone now, so hopefully that works better than this whatever Spectrum's doing today.
Yeah, good luck. I was just talking about overwhelming onslaught, -1 to hit if your opponent is engaged with 2 of your units. This is really situationally not very useful. I don't know if you agree.
It's back in the art of the multiple units and stuff.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't see this as very useful, but in a pinch, it could be useful.
Your head taker.
Uh-oh, Matt, you're still cutting out. Yeah, here we go again. Okay. We'll try to get Matt back working again. Last one's Mark for Destruction. Saga of the Hunter. This is 2 units in shooting. It can be any Adeptus Stardust unit. Reroll 1s against a single target. You have to target everything. Hey, Matt, you're cutting out again. Yeah, so...
yeah, it's saying I got 5 bars now, so I don't know why it's doing now.
Yeah, I just finished talking through the Saga of the Hunter detachment.
Yep.
So before we move on, what do we think of this detachment?
Originally, I liked the other 2 more. I kind of read through this fast and I saw you need 2 units, so you need combo stuff, and I'm like, that's too many hoops. I don't want to have to worry about that. But looking at 1, the outnumber you can do, so it's good into like vehicles and stuff. And 2, it brings them from Reju hunting wolves. So you have to plan for it. And like you said, you can just charge your impulsor or something in there. So you have to set it up a little more. But if you do, the army rule can get really, really good. And then I like some of the enhancements and strats a lot. So I have to play around with it and see how hard to consistently get the double unit in. Unless you're doing a big blood claw brick, headskers and stuff might not necessarily your opponent go into big stuff. So it'd be real and not get your army roll, but if you're able to set up consistently your army roll most of the time, then I think this is really good.
Yeah. I think this was the detachment that I was least excited about. The next detachment has a really great enhancements, really great strats. This detachment I think I overlooked, but I think on second thought, it is a very good army-wide buff in melee and pretty consistently unlocking it, and pretty decent strats and enhancement. I would say this is like all around pretty solid. Yeah, I definitely would consider running this.
This is the one I've run both my test games. Some of the strats really jumped out at me, so I was really interested in this one. So each time this is a Astartes unit. So this is all of this is Astartes, which is nice. Select a shooter fight, apply one of the following resolving. If your saga is completed, you can roll 1 hit, 1 wound, and damage. Otherwise, if it's a special character unit, you can roll 1 hit, 1 wound, or 1 damage before it's completed. So the before saga completed rules, okay, not great. But once the saga is completed, depending on what you're starting with, that's pretty solid rule.
Yeah, this is. I think this is the weakest of the detachments. Detachment rules, honestly, the detachment's not necessarily the weakest, but the saga is one of the hardest to complete. You have to. There's a lot of clauses to it. Before the saga is complete, on only Space Wolf characters, you have to reroll 1 hit roll or 1 roll or 1 damage roll. And you think about that, you're just kind of like rerolling 1 2 damage attack. It's not really that impactful. And you only get that on Space Wolf character units. So it's the detachment rules is kind of the weakest part of this.
Yeah, the nice thing is we do run a lot of Space Wolf character units, so that will come in a little handy early. So 2 of these are easy to do. Destroy your Oath of the Moment target, or hold one of the objectives in No Man's Land starting turn 2. Those 2 probably auto-complete by turn 2 most of the time. Now, the other 2... I mean, if you're not, you're probably not doing well anyway. So the other 2, slay them all. You have to have a unit that destroys a second Oath of the Moment target, or you have to have one of your character units in your opponent's deployment zone. And all of these can only be triggered by Space Wolf character units.
Right. Yeah, and this
at least it's unit now, not model.
Yes, which is good.
To Russ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if your opponent is savvy, they can really deny 2 of these pretty well. I think the ones that are easy to deny are primary, like go contest your opponent's primary on turn 2. That's relatively easy for most armies, and then also screen your deployment zone. And then your opponent's you're gonna have a really hard time turning on your saga until turn 4. Turn 3 or 4. At that point, like most of the battle's already been fought. And so it's like, is this really going to matter all that much?
Yeah. The one thing I found with this is turn 1 or 2, you almost oath their little scout squad, oath their little Fenrisian squad to kill it. So it's just like to guarantee you get that oath kill.
It's good. But the problem is, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so the problem is it has to be a Space Wolf character to do that. So if your scout squad, if you're marking their scout squad as Oath of the Moment, you have to send your Space Wolf character unit. So you have to send that 6-man head takers with Ragnar to go kill that scout squad, which is most of the time can be okay. If that scout squad's in the middle of the board, you don't just want to send Ragnar into the middle of the board to then just die to your opponent's army.
Yeah, it also depends on where you put them. You could get an angle and double flamer them with Bjorn.
Yeah. Bjorn could be good in shooting. Hogfather is saying Logan, you can deep strike turn 1, which is I've seen some like solo Arjak or solo Logan just deep strike turn 1 to get into your opponent's DZ. Definitely possible, but again, if your opponent is competent, they know what this detachment does. That's pretty easy to screen out your DZ. For multiple turns.
Yeah, but if you're running one guy, it's hard. They're going to have to really screen hard to stop him, which them committing that hard to stopping a solo Arjak if you're trying to pull that off.
Yeah, I mean, it could be reasonable.
But I find most of the time you're probably going to trigger it around turn 3, and you have to do it with one of your units surviving to kill a second oath or making a charge into the opponent's deployment zone.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I think this detachment has the best enhancements.
So the army rule is, the detachment rule is probably the weakest.
Yeah.
And one of the weirdest to trigger. But I like Braggart Steel, +2 strength to the melee weapons, and if you've completed one of the boasts, +1 damage. So that just means this guy's unit has to either just kill the unoath target or hold an objective after turn 2.
Yep.
And then he gets +1 damage.
+1 damage is amazing. Damage 3, damage 4 on Iron Priest. I don't know. It's just really good.
Well, and +2 attack. So now your Iron Priest is 6 attacks, re-rolling wounds if he's engaged with something that's engaged with your vehicles.
Oh, it's only +2 strength.
Yeah, it's +2 strength, but it's +1 damage.
Yeah, +2 strength, +1 damage. Yeah.
Yeah, but he gets reroll wounds when he's engaged with something that's engaged with a vehicle. So, like, coming in at strength, he's 8, so he'd be strength 10. What is he? 3 damage normally, so 4 damage,
Yeah.
rerolling wounds. Like,
solid.
Yeah. Skjalds, I find, probably won't take most of the time if you're taking Bjorn. If you don't take Bjorn, then this is a decent substitute because you're going to trigger, and because his unit doesn't have to do it, anybody can do it, and then it triggers a CP. So it'll probably give you 3-ish CP through the game,
which is pretty solid.
Yeah, 3 instead of the 5 you're going to auto get from Bjorn. It's not too bad to trade out.
Not too bad at all.
If you wanted to
I would
save
say this
points
is a solid enhancement.
Only downside of this is if you complete 2 boasts in the same turn, you lose. You're going to only get 1, and
it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. If you're not taking Bjorn, I think it's only like 10-15 points. It's worth trying. I'd pay 15 points for 2 extra CP if that's all you get.
Yeah, exactly.
Horde Slayer is really interesting. Space Wolves model only at the start of the fight phase. If there are more enemy models than friendly models wholly within 6 inches of the bearer, till the end of the phase, add 2 to the attack characteristics of the melee weapons equipped by the bearer. If the bearer's unit has achieved 1 or more boasts, add 3. So
solid melee enhancement. It's not go out of your way to take this, but if you have extra points, why not?
Yeah, this is the thing I think you put on your Iron Priest. So if something gets back threatening your vehicles with the unit, you charge him in the vehicle. That's only 2 models. He gets an extra 2 attacks.
3 damage, rerolling wounds.
Yeah, because he's probably not often going to be completing both your Iron Priest, but going in at 6 attacks instead of 4, that's a decent upgrade for him.
Iron Priests are pretty sneaky. They can reroll hit roll and then reroll wounds.
Yep. So then we got Thunderwolf's Fortitude. This is 30 points currently.
Best enhancement in the book.
Yeah, model. Yeah, first time the bearer is destroyed, remove from play. Then set at the end of the phase, roll 1d6 and a 2 up, set them back up as close as possible, not in engagement with 3 wounds. So I heard some people talk about running the Lone Op Lieutenant, doing some little shenanigans with him with this. Puts him to 100 points. He's Lone Op, reactive move, 5 up, feel no pain. You finally kill him, he pops back up.
This is a really great enhancement. Same in Angelic Inheritors. It really just makes your opponent throw away resources to deny your primary, and you're not throwing away resources. You're just going to continually throw the Combat Lieutenant on the center. If he stands 9 away and shoots him, he stands back up, you get the objective. If he runs within 9, you run away, you kill stuff, and you send him back out again. It's kind of like really good trade economy, really good early and mid-game resource. Fantastic enhancement, can really get you 5 to 10 extra points throughout the course of the game, just on primary alone, and also helps you win the trade war.
Yeah, I ran this on him 1 game, and he actually lived and never had to roll the 2 up.
Solid. It's very solid.
Yeah. So let's get down here to the strats. Inspiring Presence. 1 adept to start his character unit from your army into the phase. Melee weapons equipped by models unit have lethal hits. So this is another one it's character locked, but not Space Wolf locked.
Right. This is decent. Yeah, pretty decent.
Yep. Alpha Strike, same thing. Character locked, but all characters. Advance and charge. That's always solid. A good strat.
Very solid.
Champion's Guidance. This one is Space Wolf character locked, but it basically unlocks full rerolls to hit.
Second Oath. Yeah, we lost Logan, so this is kind of going to be a big deal for us. We lost Logan's ability.
Yes.
Yeah, that's an amazing strat.
Heroic Resolve is another good one. It's 2 CP, though, but Space Wolf character unit, -1 damage against shooting.
Yeah, this is amazing. I wish it was shooting or fight phase, but -1 damage is incredible. And Head Takers, Wolfclaw Terminators, even Blood Claws sometimes. An incredible strat. 2 CP is hefty, though. You're going to want Bjorn.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think you want Bjorn all the time, especially I think he's 170 right now from the last thing I saw. But, yeah, your Head Takers are 3 damage. So enemy tries to get cheeky with some 3 damage stuff. Now it takes 2 to get through. They start shooting you with 2 damage stuff. Now it takes 3 to get through. They're shooting 2 damage at your Terminators. They're normally going to have Storm Shields, so now it takes 4 to get through. And you're fighting some of those stupid Riptides or the Necrons with the Doomsday Arc, which are 4 damage. Well, now it's taking 2 of those to get through. So it's like, it's 2 CP, but when you need it, it's worth it.
It's going to be amazing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Breath of the Saga is okay. A Head Taker unit or a Wolfguard unit, their pack leader can become a character. But I don't see myself ever taking them without a character already. So,
right. Yeah. And you would get what? You get potentially complete a saga with them if you didn't have a character with them. Or you
saga, you can use any
wound.
or you can use any of the strats on them.
Right.
Yeah, you can still give them -1 damage.
I mean, yeah, could unlock -1 damage. That could be really good.
Yep. Lucky the counter charge, you can still unlock the advance and charge. So if someone like precisions your guy out of there or something weird, the unit just is, it costs you an extra CP, but the unit just isn't cut off from everything.
Yeah, totally.
The counter charge was my favorite strat, this is the one that sucked me into starting with bold. End of your opponent's charge phase. One Adeptus Astartes character unit for your army that's within 6 inches of one or more enemy units, you would be able to declare a charge against one or more of those enemy units, and if it were your charge phase. You now get to declare a charge. So it's basically 9th edition heroic intervention. They don't have to charge for you to trigger it.
Yes.
So this stops like shooty armies running up and trying to out OC you on something.
Move blocking.
Like,
nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my first test game, I played into World Eaters. I'm like, well, this doesn't really count here because they're charging me. But another good thing is it's basically, if you want to spend 3 CP, 2 heroics into an army that's charging you.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, wow. Xander is saying Birth of a Saga used to get OC on Wolfen. That is a use case where you have head takers within 6 of Wolfen and no other characters. Yeah. That's
Wolfen,
pretty solid.
Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the hunting wolves. Yep. That's actually, I hadn't thought of that. That's really, really
it's
good.
It's in your command phase, so it's before you score primary. So that's quite interesting.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Good catch. Yeah, so this detachment has very amazing, the best enhancement, and
best enhancements are really good strats. Yep. Army rule, but yeah, I really like the strats and enhancements. Then rolling out to probably the best army rule, I would say.
Yeah, well, let's pause a minute and talk about bold as far as
sure.
where
Let's go ahead.
Go. So, what do you think bold? Where do you think bold stands?
I think bold is really, really solid counter, stage and counter detachment.
Totally.
You got the -1 damage to help you survive middle. You got the counter charge to help you protect objectives. You got the advance and charge. You can do the combat lieutenant with fortitude. You got the advantage charge to jump out of the terrain. You can get a reroll to hit if you need it. You can throw lethals on something if you need it. Just really, really useful strats that help.
Very good strats. I would say this is the best strats in the book.
Yeah, I'd say this is the best strats and some of the best enhancements.
Yeah.
So I think you can really run all sorts of builds in this. I'm really, really big on originally my first test builds, I was running 2 head taker units and 1 Terminator unit with Logan. After watching Dan from Hobby Goblins playing RJack in a Terminator squad, I dropped. I like 2 head taker units and then 2 Terminator units with Logan and RJack. But my new list, I got a little more shooting, so I dropped the 2nd head taker unit. Got Ragnar with head takers, RJack with a 5-man, Logan with a 5-man.
Yeah, those Terminators are annoying to kill, man.
Well, and if you do end up killing them, RJack gives them fight on death on a 4-up.
Oh yeah, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, that's what I like. Dan ran a 10-man with him and ran in and just like it was brutal. I tried the 10-man. Tried to put it in a list. It's just too expensive. I had to drop too much other stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm finding. They do okay damage. Not amazing. They're like Blade Guard.
No. They're just more survivable Blade Guard, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
The only thing they have is Logan and Arjack attached to them, which hit up pretty good.
They do. Last detachment.
You have. Yep, last detachment. So Beast Slayer. Each time a Depth of Astartes model from your army, so that's everything in the army, that's already a good start.
Yep.
Attacks a character, monster, or vehicle unit, or if your Saga's.
Oh, I think we lost you again. Dang. All right. We'll keep the show going. Yeah. So Beast Slayer, essentially you get your whole army shooting in melee gets lethal hits against character, monster, vehicle, which is exactly the units that you want to get lethal hits. This is shooting in melee. This is like one of the only ways to get lethal hits for Marine shooting, other than lieutenants, other than a couple enhancements here and there. So this is right at the gate before you even complete the saga. This is an amazing detachment rule. Lethal hits across your army against character, monster, vehicle, which are, again, like I said, most of the units you want them against.
Yeah, there's very few scary units that don't have a character attached to them or aren't a monster vehicle.
Yeah, so like maybe Deathwing Knights. There's like a couple of niche use cases, but most of the time, lethal hits is this is an amazing detachment rule.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then to complete it, you basically figure out how many character, monster, vehicles total they have of all of them, half it rounding up, and you have to kill that many.
So this is one of the harder ones to achieve.
Yeah, depending on the matchup, this could be easy to kill, easy to do, or hard to do. Oh, you have one character and one vehicle? Cool, I killed your one vehicle, I triggered it. Right. Oh, your knights? Well, I'm never triggering this. Maybe turn 4.
Like, well, I guess knights, you already have it all the time.
What's I'm saying? Like, if they run lots of this stuff, it's going to be hard to trigger the rule, but you already have it against all that stuff. So it's like, the times it's going to be really, really hard to trigger, you're already getting it against so much stuff naturally that I don't know how much of a problem that's going to be.
Yeah. Still, the best attachment rule.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I'm going to start playtesting with this one next because just what you naturally have is just so good.
It's so good, and it benefits every Adeptus Astartes, not just Space Wolf, not just Space Wolf character, not just melee. It is shooting melee all the time for Adeptus Astartes. Yes. So this makes shooting really scary. It makes melee even better. Amazing attachment rule.
Yeah. All right. So then the enhancements, we got Wolf Touched, Space Wolf model only, add 2 to their move characteristic, and they can join Wolfen or Wolfen with Storm Shields.
This is really fun. And jury's still out on whether or not I think this is amazing. But joining a priest to Wolfen, resing, joining a Wolfguard battle leader to Wolfen, giving them sustained in addition to lethals.
Well, sustained is like, I like the res, and that was what I was thinking about, and then the +1 to wound. But the sustained on a unit that has way less attacks than they should.
Yes.
I think might be the way to go.
Yeah, here's an interesting tech. This detachment does not have access to advance and charge outside of Blood Claws, outside of Ragnar, with head takers. If you're taking head takers in transport and you don't want to take Ragnar, say you want to take a priest or you want to take a battle leader, you can throw this enhancement on them and join into the head takers. And that priest or Wolfguard battle leader gets +2 move. It doesn't have to join a Wolfen. So it is just a 9-inch moving model that can join your unit. You now have +2 move on your unit.
Yep. So, and so he moves 12 out of the transport. So even without charging, you can get places. Yep. That's cool.
Kind of makes up for lack of advance and charge on that unit.
Mm-hmm. So then Hunter's Guile, Adeptus Astartes model. After both players deployed their army, select up to 3 Thunderwolf, Wolfen, or Bloodclaw units from your army and redeploy them, and you can put them in their strategic reserve.
Interesting. I don't see this useful at all. Yeah.
No. Then we have Elder's Guidance, Space Wolf model only. Once per battle, at the start of the fight phase, if the bear is leading a Bloodclaw unit, bear can use an enhancement. If it does, until the end of the phase, +1 AP. It's once per game and only works on Bloodclaws. So
it's so restrictive. You really want Ragnar with those Bloodclaws. Otherwise, they don't do much of anything. Although there is something, because they can Blood Surge, there is something to Mega Bloodclaw, 20 mans that can all run forward and Blood Surge and just be annoying. They don't really kill much.
Yeah. Although Wolf Priest with +1 to wound with them, because they already have built-in advance and charge, isn't a bad idea either.
Quite good.
Yep. And then he can res one. And then maybe you give him this so they can go +1 AP once a game. But I don't know about that one. Helm of the Beast Slayer. That's a Astartes model. Each time an attack made by a character, monster, or vehicle model targets bear's unit, reduce the AP by 1. Basically, Armor of Contempt, but only against character, monster, or vehicles.
But the whole time, and it can go on any Adeptus Astartes model, not just Space Wolf. So I'm jury's still out on this enhancement.
Yes.
Could do Terminators, but generic Terminators and generic characters aren't like amazing.
Yeah, because you can't, like we said earlier, Detachment enhancements cannot go on the Wolfguard Terminators because only epic heroes can join them.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So enhancements, Wolf Touched is pretty good. The rest of it's pretty meh.
Pretty meh. Yeah, this is probably the worst enhancements out of the book.
Yeah. If we could switch this up to bold with those enhancements and strats,
oh man,
that would be an awesome detachment.
Wow.
All right. So strats, we got Unbridled Ferocity. Once Space Wolf from your army that has not been selected to fight this phase, until the end of the phase, each model unit makes attack +1 to wound.
Amazing.
Right, that's fine. I think this, have, like, yeah. Wolf. Yeah, as I run a Wolf Priest a lot, so like you already have +1 to wound in some places, but I guess depending on some other places, it's not bad because Terminators and the unit with Ragnar do have a Strength 5 problem.
Yeah, Strength 5 problem. +1 wound is amazing. The Wolfguard Battle Leader now becomes an amazing unit with Head Takers, which is really cheap. They're like 235. And you get lethal, sustained, reroll ones without oath, and you can +1 to wound them. Yeah, that unit becomes just really good, just out of the box.
True. So then you got Thunderous Pursuit, or that could even be Battle Leader with Wolfen.
Yeah, Battle Leader with Wolfen, +1 to wound. You know, could be really good.
Yep. All right, so your movement phase, just after enemy unit ends a normal advance or fallback move, when a depth of starting unit from your army within 9 of that unit and not within engagement range, make a normal move of up to D6. If you're infantry or cavalry, you can do a 6-inch.
6-inch reactive or D6 on anything, including vehicles. This is an amazing stratagem. This is such a big threat. Shooting for moving out of charge range of melee. Yeah. One of the reasons why Stormlance is so powerful.
Yeah, you just can't do it on vehicles, beasts. Fenrisians have a built-in one. It would have been nice if the hunting wolves could have used this because they don't have the reactive move like Fenrisians. But
you can use this on anything. It's just only the infantry and cavalry move 6. Everything else moves D6.
Yeah, I just hate the D6 because it's normally a 1 or a 2.
Exactly. Yep.
That's why the thing I always hate about the Blood Surge is the threat of it was great. Having to use it wasn't reliable.
Yeah, unless you're in Stormlance, then you can move 6 closer and then Blood Surge, which actually, in fact, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the reactive first, but yeah, a normal detachment, like the way I was running it, yeah. Just you're within 6. I got to roll this 5 or 6. Like it just. The threat of it normally kept people away more than like it actually did anything for me.
Right. Yeah.
All right, here's one you're going to like. Shock Cavalry. Movement or charge phase. 1 Thunderwolf cavalry unit from your army has not been selected to move or declare charge. They can move through models other than Titanic and terrain features that are 4 inches or less. And there's another one that's movement or charge, so you could use it in both if you wanted to.
You know, I have to say, playing a lot of wolves, you've played wolves. This is one of the weaker stratagems. It's only 4-inch walls, so every wall that's 5 inches, which is the standard terrain height, you're not moving through. 2-inch walls, which you could already move through, you're already moving through. The wolves move 12, so that's good. You cannot dance and charge, so they're only moving 12. The bases are so massive that even a unit of 3, it's going to be really easy for your opponent to just like stick a random dude out of their 5-man in the back, and you can't end outside of an inch with him because your bases are so large. So this is really like, it's so situational. Could be very useful, but
I think in the movement phase, it's not in the charge phase. I think it's more useful.
Charge phase.
Because now you can just go through the unit to get the guys in the back, get more engagement range to pile into other stuff maybe.
Okay. I didn't
But
think
yeah,
about that.
the movement phase one probably and not as useful. Yeah, I didn't think about the base size yet. So probably real good in charge, probably situational in movement.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so impetuosity. Your opponent's shooting phase just after enemy units like this target. One Wolfen or Blood Claw unit, they basically get a Blood Surge. D6 can get into engagement range. So that's decent.
Yeah, as someone who used blood surges for like hundreds of games, this is interesting. I still don't know how I feel about this. Only Wolfen or Blood Claws.
Yeah.
So
But it does sometimes just stop people from even wanting to shoot you.
exactly, which is pretty good. And reactive move can control so much space.
Yep.
The one problem is you don't have access to fall back and charge. So whatever you touch, you're gonna stay there for the rest of their turn and probably your turn if you don't kill it. So you really want to be sure that you're getting into something that you want to get into.
That's true. Yeah, the Blood Surge with the fallback and charge is way better. But
Yeah, blood claws are not really that survivable. So, if you blood surge into something, you'll probably just get charged and killed. Wolfen, on the other hand, invuln T6. Now we're talking.
Yeah, but 20 Blood Claws are survivable.
With Ragnar. Ooh, reroll wounds. That's juicy.
Well, I just mean you get 20 Blood Claws into something, they're just tying the area up.
Forever.
Yes.
I mean, hell, that could just be a thing.
Yep. All right, so next we have Pinning Fire, your shooting phase. One Adept of Stars unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot this phase. To end of the phase, after unit is shot, select one enemy character, monster, or vehicle unit hit by one of those attacks. Basically, subtract 2 from their move and subtract 2 from their charge. That's a pretty good strat.
It is pretty good. Very situational. I was using this when I played one test game. I was shooting indirect, and I would do this on like Calgar squad out of indirect and saying like, hey, you're -2 charge and -2 move. Even if you advance to outside of an inch, 1.1 inches away from me, I have a reactive move now, and you're -2 charge. So you're not charging anything. It was really gimmicky. I only did it for 1 or 2 turns, but can be very useful.
You move Ragnar's squad up. They shoot one bolt pistol at some death shrouds, slow them down, and then charge a different direction just to prevent themselves getting counter back charged. Because you take death shrouds down to move in 3 inches or whatever.
Oof, and -2 charge as well. So brutal.
Yeah, so on stuff that moves decently fast, it's not bad. If you take something that's already kind of slow and do this to them, it just really, really hurts them.
Yep.
Or do it to something that so now it can't even clear a wall or can't get a shooting. Yeah, it's not going to be useful every turn, but it can be really, really nice, especially in some melee matchups. Because if you can dictate when and where the charges happen, it makes a big difference. Then we have Coordinated Strike. End of your opponent's fight phase, one Space Wolf unit from your army that's wholly within 9 inches or one or more battlefield edge, not within engagement range of one or more units. Remove your unit from the battlefield and place it into strategic reserves.
Interesting.
That's really nice.
Yeah, it'd be better if it was Adept Astartes, but Space Wolf units, late game especially, could be really useful. But other than that, I don't like Space Wolf keyword units don't really shoot that hard. Grey Hunters don't really shoot that hard, even though they're just they reroll wounds. So just putting them back into reserve and trying for a 9-inch charge is not really good. It could be good for scoring secondaries late game. That's where I see this biggest thing.
Well, my thought was sometimes because one of my last games, I had Arjak going down a flank. So they ended up killing a vehicle, and they were kind of out of the game for a turn. I'm like, well, I could have just picked them up, re-deep struck them to a different part of the board, or even leave them in strategic reserve my turn and then rapid ingress on their turn. So they lost the whole turn running across the board anyway. But now he doesn't know where they're coming. They can rapid ingress. Then just so depending on when and where in the game. Yeah, it's not. It's a good thing to have in the toolbox. It's not something that's come up every game, or even multiple times a game very often, but it could be useful occasionally.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, especially if you take deep strike stuff, like solo Arjak could be a really nice piece to just run around and do actions. Deep striking, yeah, it's okay. So, what do we think of Saga the Beast Slayer?
I think it has the best army rule. kind of meh strat, or kind of meh enhancements. A couple decent strats.
Couple decent strats for sure. Reactive move and plus
Yep.
1 wound are amazing.
Yep, and a couple other that are situationally good.
For sure. I still don't know if the Blood Surge is amazing or only okay. It just depends on whether or not those units are going to turn out to be good, the Wolfen and the Blood Claws.
If it was on anything, that'd be good.
For sure. Absolutely.
So if you could still do it with Thunderwolves, but like, eat
oh,
this.
man.
Like,
Blood Surge on head takers. Oh, my God.
Yeah. So, strength of detachments. I'm thinking I like bold playstyle more, but I'm thinking Beast Slayer just might be the more consistently good because the army rule is just always on and always good.
Yeah, we'll talk about a character in a minute, but I think we're now a really amazing combined arms force with Beast Slayer because you have lethals on all of your shooting, which, by the way, you never get in any Space Marine attachment except for like one enhancement or a lieutenant you have to buy for a one single unit. Lethals on shooting is powerful, especially with Oath of Moment. So now I think that plus the Iron Priest we'll talk about in a second, giving rapid fire to a vehicle means that this detachment, which on its face looks like a melee movement detachment, is actually extremely strong in shooting. And extremely strong combined arms because it does melee really well. Lethals and plus 1 wound in melee, plus sustained all over the place. Yeah, incredible. Yeah, what do you think? Xander's saying, how do you feel Bold and Beast Slayer hold up to Stormlance and Gladius? What do you think, Matt?
I think with the new Thunderwolves and the Head Takers, I think Stormlance can be really, really good for Wolves.
Pretty powerful.
I think we might end up in the situation where that's our best attachment again. I do think Bold and Beast Slayer, if you build them right, can be better for us than Gladius. Although Gladius is just a real consistent, even, just does a couple things, but it does them fairly well. It's just not like glamorous.
Yeah. Me personally, I think Stormlance is one of the best. Like 3. I'll say there's like 3 in my mind that are amazing. Stormlance is amazing. Beast Slayer is amazing. And the last one could be between Gladius or Bold. Although we were talking about Hunter, the plus 1 hit and wound all of a sudden, and like pretty okay stratagems. Like that could suddenly
I think there can be some builds there. And something I've heard people talking about, Iron Storm. With
Iron Storm.
Heavy Iron Priest, rapid fire.
Ooh, gross.
That could be a thing.
Yeah, so I think there's like 5 viable detachments, like 5 or 6 viable detachments that could be all A tier. I'm just gonna have to see how they play out. But for me, I know Stormlance. I know how it plays. It did get some buffs with the data sheets, so I'm excited to play that. But I really want to try out some of these Codex attachments first.
Yep. All right, so we're coming up on an hour. Do you want to go through data sheets or save that for next week?
Honestly, I'm down to keep talking. We don't have to.
I got where to go. Yeah, we normally in an hour, but this is a special Codex edition. We can roll on through all these data sheets.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool. All right, first up is some guy called Logan Grimnar.
Ooh, man. He changed, but
he looks old. Like he probably looks like he needs like a mobility sled or something to pull him around. Like he looks,
man. If only he had like little.
This is so much better than the sled. Like this is one of my favorite looking models. Unfortunately, I'm converting my own because I do my Red Wolves, which isn't its own. I've been actually write up a whole thing, do a little thing, post that for everybody, the lore behind my Red Wolves, but this is such a cool model.
Amazing.
So stats, move 6, which all our Terminators do, which is amazing. T5, 2 up save, 4 up invul, 8 wounds, leadership 6, 1 OC.
By the way, this guy costs 110 points.
Yep, that's
incredible for that stat line already without even reading his rules.
Yep, so he's just got a Stormbolter, still got his Axe of Mordecai, which is still the same profile before. strength 6, 6 attacks, strength 8, negative 3 damage.
Oh,
damage 4 and damage 2.
Yeah.
His Tearneck and Fenrir get the same amount of attacks as his sled dogs did, strength 6, or 6 attacks, strength 5, neg 1 damage. I keep saying that wrong.
They kind of rolled both his data sheets into one. I'm really happy about this. He kind of got the best of both worlds.
They rolled his data sheets into one and gave him the cheaper point cost than the worst one.
Yeah, crazy.
So they can only join Wolfguard Terminators. His Deep Strike, Oath of the Moment. High King of Fenris. Once per battle round, in your movement phase, you can select one friendly Space Wolf unit that is in Strategic Reserve. If you do, until the end of the phase, the purpose of setting it up on the battlefield, treat the current battle round number as being one higher than it actually is. So basically, this lets you bring in Strategic Reserve turn 1 and come into your opponent's deployment zone turn 2. And it also lets you Deep Strike, which I find will probably be the most useful thing. My last game I had, both my games I've run a Deep Struck Logan turn 1, just kind of midfield to a safe spot to, we'll get into his other ability, to get his other ability in range. And then his other ability is Gallow the Wolf. Each time your opponent targets a unit within 12 of him, it costs 1 extra CP. So basically, he's got Bjorn's old rule.
Vectora.
Yep, Vectora.
Yeah. When I first read this High King of Fenris, I was a little disappointed. Like, bringing from Strategic Reserve, there's no way to get better charges, to get +1 charge. There's no way to move after you charge. Only for Space Wolf units. So no, like, draining our Repulsor Executioner in turn 1. I was a little disappointed, but then I started to see the combo everyone did, bringing him in mid-board with 5 Terminators just to, like, take up space and stage on turn 1. And then you have this really durable, really annoying Vectora that's already staged to go charge turn 1.
Yep.
It's pretty amazing.
I was playing Tau my last game, and he lived in the middle board pretty much the whole game, and it was so annoying for him to not, basically, if he's in the middle, 12 each, like, that's like a 20 above the whole center of the table, you can't do stratagems.
Yes, and by the way, he is 80 millimeters, so 12 inches off of 80 millimeters in both directions. It's massive. He controls so much. Like, I played into Ultramarines Gladius, and he Deep Strike turn 1 into a staging ruin in the middle, and then my opponent just, like, didn't go into the middle. And, it was pretty incredible.
Yeah, so he's, I think, almost auto-take at this point.
Yeah, he is amazing. He is amazing. I was skeptical first, but quickly shown the way.
And just look at that. Like, even if his rules suck, you'd want to put that in your army.
He's a cool ass model for sure.
Yeah. Next, we got y'all. Move 7, T4, 3 up, save 4 people. Only 4 wounds, which is a little disappointing. Leadership 6, 1 OC.
Yeah, y'all.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, so he's got his Living Lightning, which is sustained 2, Witchfire, strength 7, egg 1 damage, either D6 or 2D6, depending on if you want to make it hazardous. Staff of the Stormcaller, strength egg 1 D8, it is sustained 2. He can join Blood Claws, Grey Hunters, and so I don't think you put him in Head Takers because there's so many better options there. Let's read his rules and talk about that. So Windwalker, while this model is a unit, ranged weapons equipped by models unit have assault, and each time the unit advances, do not make an advance, auto move 6. That would be amazing if he wasn't locked to the 3 units he's locked to.
Yes.
The Grey Hunters, they can put out a decent amount of bolter shots, so maybe that's a little bit of a thing, but they're all AP 0, 1 damage.
Yeah, even for
Tempest Wrath.
Wounds. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Tempest Wrath is his better rule. In your shooting phase, after this model's unit is shot, select one enemy unit, excluding monster and vehicle, hit by one or more of those attacks, made with a living lightning weapon. Till start your next turn, subtract 6 from the range characteristics of the model's weapons down to 12.
I think that's okay. I mean, the auto advance 6 is pretty amazing for movement. If you can get advance and charge, it's pretty solid.
If he could go in like Stern Guard, this would be amazing.
Oh my god! If you go on Stern Guard, I would have a cow. Oh my god.
Yep. Yeah, Salt Stern Guard just moved 12 basically.
Yeah, move 12. He would get reroll wounds. I mean, he does get reroll wounds from Grey Hunters, but
yeah, his unit does auto move 13. And his shooting's okay. So I mean, this does all affect his shooting as well. But Grey Hunters being locked at 10 mans at 180 points just really kind of kills this for me.
Yeah, it does. And the fact that Grey Hunter, there's no really good shooting in the Space Wolf units. He's kind of one of the weaker data sheets, which is unfortunate because auto advance 6 and assault is such a good rule. So
yep, and you would take Grey Hunters are the unit he'd be your first choice in, but I don't think we're going to see a lot of Grey Hunters.
Unfortunately, not. They're a little overcosted for what they do.
Yep, and then if we could take them at 5s, that'd be a huge thing.
God, yeah, so 5 mans would be amazing. Oh,
yep. So a little overcosted. So you're not going to pay extra points to make a kind of meh unit just slightly less meh.
Yeah.
Ulrich. So surprised to see this little guy made the book. Move 7, T4, 3 up save, 4 wounds, leadership 5, 1 OC, 4 pinball. He is now, other than Fenrisian Wolf, the shortest model in our Codex.
Short King.
Yeah, regular plasma pistol. He's got a pretty standard Crozius, except it's -2 instead of -1, and he gets anti-monster, anti-vehicle 4. He enjoys Blood Claws, Grey Hunters, Head Takers. So he's got a Field of Pain 6 up, and then at the start of the battle, select one of the following keywords to be his Slayer's Oath: character, monster, or vehicle. First time this model's unit destroys a unit with this model's Slayer keyword, if your detachment rolls a Saga until the end of the battle, just treat it as triggered. So basically, he can get his unit the Saga if they kill one character, monster, or vehicle.
Yep, which is solid. Yep.
And then Oathbound, while this model's leading a unit, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, add 1 to the hit roll. If the target is attacking his Slayer's Oath, +1 to wound as well.
Pretty solid. I mean, +1 to hit and wound is pretty solid. You can choose characters if your opponent's very character heavy. Unfortunately, his buffs overlap a lot within other buffs. Like +1 to wound is pretty. You can get it from Detachment rule. You can get it from the Priest. You can get it from a Strat. +1 to hit is also same thing. You can get it from the Detachment rule. You can get reroll 1. So he's kind of over. He's like a good character, but he definitely overlaps with a lot of other rules. Like, would you rather have +1 to hit, or would you rather heal a guy? You know what I mean? Like the Wolf Priest heals a guy.
Well, it depends. Him, I would see in a 20-man Blood Claw squad, whereas healing one guy might not be super useful.
Yeah.
Hogfather saying y'all in with Blood Claws, so they auto advance 6 with their advance and charge.
Yes,
that's
good.
True, but I'd rather have Ragnar, a Priest, Ulrich, or the battle leader in there for the other buffs they get before I would pick y'all, even though that is a nice buff.
Yes. Really good movement and good charging, could tie stuff up. The problem is that Blood Claws on their base data sheet don't do any damage. And so you need a character Ragnar or +1 to wound or sustained, like you need some beef in there, and Njal doesn't really buff the damage output. He just buffs the movement. So yes, auto advancing 13 and charge is pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
If you're running the multiple 20-man Blood Claw rush some people have been talking about, I can see Ulrich finding a home there.
Yeah, definitely.
Load more images. All right, so that's Ulrich. All right, next up, we got Bjorn the Fell-Handed. Move 9,
Woo.
P9, 2 up save, 8 wounds, leadership 6, OC 3, 5 up invul. Boy got an invul.
Finally.
Yep. Unfortunately, so all his, unfortunately the cost of some other stuff, but all his weapon profiles haven't changed. Still got the Hellfrost, Heavy Flamer, Assault Cannon. He can't take the Las Cannon anymore. But I think Hellfrost has been the way to go with him for a
Got
little bit.
+1 strength, which is dope.
The Hellfrost got +1 strength.
Yep.
All right, cool. So still Torrent, and then still one shot. But this teamed up with the Iron Priest at 18 inches is 2 shots, which is amazing. Then he has Deadly Demise 1, Feel No Pain 5 up still. Now, instead of half damage, he subtracts 1 to wound if your strength is higher than his toughness. But this is where he's great in auto take. Start your command phase, +1 CP. Just not a captain, -1 CP, any of that. No, you just gain a CP every command phase. You're getting 3 a battle round.
That's pretty amazing.
This just makes things so much nicer.
I would say his durability decreased slightly, but he went down in points a little bit. And instead of sucking a CP out of your opponent, he gives you CP every turn.
Yeah,
which is
so I would say his durability went down slightly, but before he had Logan's rule, the 12-inch +1 CP thing. So you wanted to push him out,
right,
to protect him anyway to keep your CP up. So I find I'm not pushing him out to like turn 3 or 4 anyway, till I've already gotten a few CP. Which case his durability isn't as big an issue, and then he can come out and like finish stuff up, do some late game actions, hold some late game objectives. So he's more of a finisher now than like a starter. Which
definitely giving you CP is amazing. He still does okay damage. He's pretty damn durable, all around great unit, and he's cool as hell.
Yep. Yeah, I think with the +1 CP, I think he's an auto take. I start everyone with him. Ragnar, my favorite character, going back to 2nd edition. Stayed the same.
Cutting out again.
Yep. All right. Can you see me?
Yes, perfect. Great. Okay, yeah, you're just reading his weapons.
Yeah, so his weapons stayed the same. His rules changed slightly. War Howl. So while he's bleeding a blood unit, he gives him wound. But since they already have built-in advance insurance.
Still cutting out again.
And then, so those are the only units he can join. He doesn't give Blood Claws advance to charge if they already have it. He gives them reroll wound.
Yep.
On the charge, he's still +2 attack. So the only thing that changed is he lost his +2 strength on the charge.
Yes. Kind of sad. I mean, it's like it's okay. He still hits like a truck, except into like T12. He does not hit like a truck. But if you can get +1 wound and reroll wounds, he still hits like a truck.
Yeah. And depending on the attachment, some of the attachments have lethals. So there's stuff you can do to help that, but still coming in with 10 attacks on the charge, he still wrecks most stuff.
He totally does. And reroll wounds on Blood Claws. Blood Claws are desperate for damage buffs. So reroll wounds, +1 wound, anything they can get. So he's really great.
Yes. Next up, Arjak Rockfist. Movement 6, T5, 2 up save, 4 up invul, 6 wounds, leadership 6, 1 OC. So he can still throw foe hammer. It's anti-monster, anti-vehicle 3, and assault. Whereas before it was just anti-monster or just anti-vehicle? I know it only worked.
It was anti-monster.
Yeah, which was
weird.
So now vehicle you hit a lot more, and you still have monster there. And then same in combat, except in combat he also gains precision. Strength 8, -2, 3 damage.
Yes.
And he can lead Wolfguard Terminators. So one thing that sucks is him and Logan cannot join the same unit anymore.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So otherwise a 10-man with both of them would deep strike and turn 1 in the middle would have been a menace.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now they each have to lead like their own 5-man, and it's still good. So Anvil of Endurance, while this model's leading a unit, Basically gives his unit a 4-up fight on death, which is amazing. And then each time this model makes a melee attack that targets a character unit, you can reroll a hit roll and you can roll a wound roll. I saw a lot of people missing this, that's character unit. So it's not only if he tries to precision out the leader, it's on the whole unit if they have a character with them because they gain the character keyword.
Yes, and he has 5 attacks with 3 damage with anti and precision. So he slaps characters. He's putting 4 or 5 wounds on characters every time he swings that are precision.
And it's really good into monsters and vehicles because he wounds them on 3s.
Exactly. And what if a character monster vehicles? Then he gets to reroll hits and wounds. So he's wounding 5 times with 3 damage.
Yep, and then backed up by a squad of Termies.
We talked about it earlier, but he by himself with Logan coming down on turn 1 could be a really good way to get a Saga and Saga of the Bold.
Yes.
Coming down into your opponent's DZ.
Yep. So it's 95 points. You're kind of throwing him away. So I'd rather try to achieve it different ways personally, but you could do that because him with a 5-man giving them the fight on death,
and
just
pretty
keeping
good.
him alive to keep swinging.
Hard to
I
shift.
think is more useful than trying to. And if you're not running Bold, then there's definitely no reason to solo YOLO him.
Yeah, totally.
Next up, Wolf Priest, our new guy. Movement 7, T4, 3-up save, 4 wounds, leadership 6, 1 OC, 4 invul, Revolver, Bolt Pistol, Crozius, standard profiles for those. Healing Balm. While he's leading a unit in your command phase, you can return 1 destroyed model, excluding characters. This is Bloodclaw, Grand, or Wolf Head Takers. This is most useful with the Head Takers. And in Beast Slayer, you can give him the Relic. This would work with Wolfen. Bring him back a Wolfen.
Yeah, pretty solid. Very solid. He is an apothecary, which we don't have access to.
Yep, and a chaplain, because he also has a litany of hate for +1 to wound.
He literally is the best of those both data sheets slapped together, and he is price to move. This guy is amazing. Like the characters in this book are incredible. Like it is just amazing how good these characters are.
Yeah, the characters are great. They're just really, really locked to only a couple units to lead, which is the only downside. But the characters on themselves are amazing.
Right.
Then we have the Iron Priest, which...
Oh, boy. Here we go.
That's hard to say, but might be one of the best characters in the whole bunch. Like that, you could say that about almost everyone, but his rule is insane. So move 7, crazy. T4, 2-up save, 4 wounds, leadership 6, 1 OC, Hellfrost Pistol, and Tempest Hammer, and Silver Armor combined now, so it's just 4 attacks, hitting on 4, strength 8, negative 3 damage. Sucks that he hit on 4s, but
3 damage.
But 3 damage. Load up within 3 of a vehicle, just like a normal Tech Marine. Heals D3 in the command phase like a normal Tech Marine, but instead of +1 to hit, he can give all the vehicle's weapons rapid fire 1.
Wow. Yeah. Game changer.
Dude. Hunter Killer Missile, 2 shots.
Rapid fire 1. Yep.
Within 36. Lancer, 3 shots. Ballistus in 24 inches, 3 shots from each gun, so 6 shots.
Yep.
Like, there's just so much. Like the list I'm about to test is a Beast Slayer list, has 2 Iron Priests, 2 Ballistus, 2 Lancer.
Amazing. I mean, people have been talking about it, but Predator Annihilators, they just have 4 guns, all 1 shot. So when you rapid fire all those 4 guns, they're all 48-inch range, you essentially get 2 Predator Annihilators for the price of 1.
Oh, yeah.
And that unit actually slaps with you just shooting 2 Predator Annihilators, rerolling damage into vehicles. Yeah. Wow.
I have the top for a Predator that I can put on one of my old rhinos. I don't have the side sponsons.
Oof.
I got to get me a Predator because they were okay last edition. People run them, I thought about, but like with him, like running 3 Iron Priests and like Stormlance and just going 2 Ballistus, 2 Lancer, 2 Predator, 2 Vindicator, and then throw like 2, 3 little combat units to protect it. And just like, or that's where you run 600 points of Thunderwolves, 12 or 18 bodies that just hold up the board and you just light them up from behind with all your that could be a thing that would be on certain layouts just
so brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he almost like increases or almost doubles the damage of your vehicles which also can be increased with Beast Slayer, with lethals. So
Mm-hmm.
other detachments like Stormlance love this guy. Gladius love this guy. Ironstorm, amazing. Like this guy fits into every detachment where you're taking shooting, which is going to be every detachment.
Yes.
And he also has another rule. He's got one more rule, which is also incredible.
Oh yeah. While he's in engagement range of an enemy unit that's also in engagement range of a vehicle, he gets to reroll a wound.
Yeah, so wow, this dude just has a 3 damage hammer rerolling wounds all the time. And he's 60 points. He's durable. He hits pretty hard. He is a lone op. He buffs your vehicles. He buffs your damage and can still do actions without shooting. So like he is a lone op in the middle of the table, can do recovered, can do cleanse. He can hold an objective. He can like this dude just does everything. This guy is amazing. He is too good. He is going to get points adjusted, not this data slate.
Hush your mouth.
I know.
Next up, we have the battle leader. That's our other new character. Move 7, T4, 3 up save, 5 wounds, leadership 6, 1 OC, 4 up invul. Mastercrafted bolt carbine. So that's basically a 2 damage version of the blood claw or the Grey Hunter's gun without the rapid fire. Plasma pistol. Mastercrafted power weapon, which is 7 attacks, strength 5, negative 2 damage. Or a Thunderhammer at 5 attacks, strength 8, negative 2 damage.
He's a captain profile.
Yes. Yeah, he's a battle leader, but he's a captain profile. You're absolutely right. So Tempered Ferocity, while model leading a unit, weapons equipped by models in that unit have the Sustained Hits 1 ability. Each model in that unit makes an attack that targets an enemy unit within 6, reroll a hit roll of 1. So all of your combat attacks will be rerolling hit rolls of 1 with Sustained 1, and you're shooting within 6. So you can put them at Wolfen and with the enhancement and Beast Slayer, run him with Head Takers. You could put him in with Blood Claws, right? Because he can lead. Yeah. Blood Claws is 10 guys or 20 guys with 4 attacks each with Sustained in Oath.
And reroll ones without Oath.
We'll reroll one without Oath, but even with Oath. And if you're in the detachment, whatever detach or Beast Slayer, you already have lethal.
Sustained lethals. Yeah, any guy this guy joins in Beast Slayer, it becomes a melee menace. And the one gripe about Logan's change is you lose reroll hits for your army, but you have other sources of reroll ones, this guy being one of them.
Yes. Then he has Heroic Last Stand. Basically, he has a 2-up fight on death. So that's pretty nice. And if you give him the Storm Shield Hammer or Storm Shield Sword, he goes to 6 wounds.
Let me read you a data sheet and you tell me which one's more expensive. This is a Lieutenant Titus that came out. And I'm going to read you the data sheet and you tell me which one's more expensive. So melee weapons, compare this to his Mastercraft power weapon. So his power weapon is 7 at 522. Titus has 8 attacks at 411. So one more attack, but -1 strength, -1 AP, -1 damage. He does have anti-infantry 2+, but whatever. He's got a 5 feel of pain, but he is -2 wounds and no invuln, or -1 wound and no invuln. He gives his unit sustained hits 1. Okay, so that's solid. He fights on death in a 2-up. But think about it. This guy has +1 damage, +1 strength, +1 AP. He also gives his unit reroll ones. He has more attacks, so he has more wounds and an invuln. Guess which unit's cheaper?
The one that gets the bullshit sissy ultramarine word.
No. Titus is 70 points. This battle leader is 65. This guy is a steal for 65. He has a captain stat
Titus
line.
Is more expensive.
Yeah.
But Titus' unit gets +1 to wound on the Oath target because Ultramarines.
Whatever. We can get +1 wound elsewhere. We don't need it.
Yeah.
But this dude, all I'm saying is this guy is incredible for 65 points. He is a captain stat line with lieutenant buff. He fights on death. Wow. He is incredible.
What units can Titus join?
He can join most of the normal stuff. Like,
I think we got some point drops because of the restrictiveness of what we can join.
Totally. The characters are amazing. If the characters could join other stuff, it would be bonkers. So, they probably cost so cheap because they can only join 3 units. And the 3 units are Head Takers are amazing. Blood Claws are okay. Grey Hunters kind of, So that's probably why the characters cost the way. They do.
I think they may start going to this to more Space Marine books, limiting what characters can join what, so they can be cheaper with the points, because they have to cost them for the best thing they can join.
Exactly.
So by restricting it, you can maybe bring points down on some stuff, because like you're limiting what they can join.
Yeah, but wow, those characters, we read through like 8 data sheets. Every single one of them was incredible, barring 1 or 2 that were okay. Every other one was amazing.
I agree. All right, next up, we're getting into some of the regular units. Blood Claws, move 7, T4, 3 of save, 2 wounds, leaves you 6, 2 OC. Bolt pistol, plasma pistol, Astartes chainsword, power weapon, nothing crazy there. Advance and charge, and they're 10 to 20. So yeah, none of our battle line can take 5-mans. You'd have to take like assault intercessor stuff. You want some little MSU units, but then they miss some of the Space Wolf buffs. But I'm not going to do it anytime soon, because getting 20 of the new 60, 80 of the new Blood Claws together is a pain, but running the Blood Claw Horde sounds like it would be fun.
Could be a real thing. Yeah,
York in a squad, Ragnar in a squad, Battle Leader in a squad, Wolf Priest in a squad, just everyone with a different character, and be like, go.
Yeah, I think Sisters of Battle are like the minimum squad for Sisters of Battle is like 11 and a half points a model. These guys are 13 and a half points a model for +1 toughness, +1 move, +1 wound.
And their ballistic weapon skills are 3s. The penalty they used to pay was they hit on 4s a lot. So we don't have any of that. So they're super cheap. They're just our downside is the size of the units we can take.
Oh man.
But for 135 points, I wouldn't mind taking a 10-man Blood Claw. But at 180, I just can't take a 10-man Grey Hunter.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the 10-man Blood Claws, and we'll talk about Grey Hunters, it changes the dynamic of the Codex. If these were 5-mans, would be normal Marines, it would be probably a lot better. But because they're 10-mans, they can be cheaper, and it just they play so differently. You're not going to play the Blood Claws and the Grey Hunters in this Codex the same way you play all the Marines.
Yeah, because I pay 100 points for 5 infiltrators. When I find 35 points and just take 10 Blood Claws, can actually bubble out a bigger area and then actually defend your home field better. Actually go out and do something.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm going to try a 20-man Blood Claw in Beast Slayer so they can do blood surging stuff. Like, that's just really solid. With Ragnar, blood surging, Blood Claws, rerolling wounds, a lot of OC. They're not going to, like, survive for more than 2 turns, but they're going to score primary, and they're going to do some damage.
Maybe advance and charge something crazy on near the board edge, and then just disappear in your opponent's fight phase and come back somewhere else.
Oh, that's fun. That's super fun.
Yeah. And what was that? I think that was Beast Slayer that did that one.
Beast Slayer.
Yeah, so they're getting all the lethals. It's probably the detachment you want to run 20-man Claw bricks in anyway.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then Grey Hunters, we've talked about them a bit before. Movement 7, T4, 3 up save, 2 wounds, leadership. OC3. So when we first leaked that, I'm like, Grey Hunters are going to be amazing.
Amazing.
Then I heard, oh, they're going to be locked to 10-man. So I was like, oh, that's... And then they came out at 190. I think they got bumped down to 180 currently. They get the bolt carbine, which is 2 shots, 3 shots at 12 inches. Bolt pistol, plasma pistol. Just all this. They can take a power fist. They get basically the assault intercessor rule. Reroll 1's the wound, and if the target's within range of objective, full rerolls the wound.
This is in shooting and melee. Assault intercessors only in melee. So this is again amazing data sheet. The thing that kills them is that they're a 10-man.
Yeah. Yeah, and the carbines are OC's AP 0, which sucks a little bit because a lot of the Primaris carbines get +1 AP. So basically we give up an AP after shot within 12. I'm not sure if that's better or worse.
Yeah, and OC3 doesn't really matter when you're in a 10-man because 5-man is going to be enough OC to contest anything. 10-man is just 10 Marines are not hard to kill. Like it's just going to be the same thing with 5 Marines.
Yeah, 5-man at OC 15, that was something.
Yeah,
a 10-man at OC 30, it's just
There are some cute combos like Niall and these guys getting to advance shoot and then potentially charge in some detachments. But the problem is they're just a little overcosted for what they do.
Let's say at 180, and then what's Niall?
Niall's like 95.
I got 85.
85.
Since it's one, so it's like 265 for that
for
combo.
10 Marines with no invul.
11 if you count, so 11 guys. That's like we have so much other stuff that's good that I just don't think they get it in.
It's definitely not the move.
Head takers. So move. Wounds, leadership 610C.
Dang. Cutting out again. Bummer. We're getting to the good stuff. The head takers. This is a really fun data sheet. I think a lot of Space Wolf armies are going to be built around this data sheet, I think.
Yeah.
You're back in. Sweet. We can see you.
Sorry. Yeah, I was saying Hunting Wolf stats, their weapons and stats are all just exactly the same as machines. So we basically have the same weapons as Blade Guard, except we have an option to give up the invul save for 2 extra attacks. Played around with it. I still think the Storm Shield way is the way to go, just for the survivability.
Right.
And did you pick your and the head takers and the wolves split at the beginning of the game? You pick a unit, you get dev wounds of precision against it, and if it dies, even if something else kills it, you pick a new unit. And it doesn't say it started a new turn or anything, so you really can just pick it immediately, from what I see here.
Yeah, I've only played one game, but I think this is best case. You pick a unit you know your opponent's going to throw out really early, and then when it dies, say you pick scouts, you kill the scouts, or you don't pick scouts, you pick JPIs. They got to come out, or something that's going to be in the middle. You kill them, and then you can pick a unit that's close to you. I think the problem is if you pick your desired target, say I'm going to choose Calgar with these head takers to give precision and dev, which would be amazing against Calgar. He's going to be like the unit. He's going to be like, okay, I'm just going to stay away from you and go the opposite flank. So that's kind of like where you don't want it. I think you want to pick a unit. You want to be able to pick your quarry in the middle of the game when you know you're going to go into it.
Well, so so you want to kill stuff near you, just like whatever's coming out first, because even if something else kills it, then you want something easy to kill, and then And another trick is I did this in a game against the Demon Prince. I had 2 head taker units. They both picked him, and they were on both flanks. So now you can't run from both.
Yep, totally. This is going to be, I think, one of the core data sheets for our army. All the characters can attach this. They can get a lot of buffs. They're really decent damage, especially with some buffs. Yeah.
Both my first 2 test games had 2 units of these. My next one's going to have only 1 because I'm running the double Termi. We'll get into those in a minute. And I wanted to add a little more shooting. So we'll see how the extra shooting goes. I may go back to running a second one of these. Thunderwolves. No one likes Thunderwolves.
Yeah, Thunderwolves. All right.
Here, you want to run through them? This is your guys.
I love them, man. So what changed? They got +2 move. Incredible. Yep. They lost +1 damage on their wolf attacks, which kind of sucks. They got +1 extra damage on their heirloom weapons, and they got +1 AP on their heirloom weapons. So instead of 7 attacks at 5, 1, 2, a couple hit on 3s, a couple hit on 4s, they're now 7 attacks, 4 hit on 3s at 5, 2, 3, 3 hit on 4s at 5, 1, 1. So they kind of went up in damage because they increased in AP, lost damage here, but increased damage there. They went up in damage, and they went up in movement, and they lost points. So overall, this data sheet got better.
Into like big stuff, they're better. Into like a Marine squad, the 2 damage and 3 damage doesn't matter. So the only 1 damage on so something like that, their profile's slightly worse.
Slightly worse.
But in the most good stuff, having the 3 damage is a
is
big
great.
bonus.
Yes. And they got +1, +2 move. They went down
Yep.
20 points per 3, 40
Yep.
points per 6. The big downside and why they probably got side graded and a little downgraded, they lost characters.
Yes.
You can no longer attach any characters to this squad. So you can't get +1 advance and charge. You can't get lethals. You can't get blood surge. You can't get sustained. You can't attach Logan. It just every character went away.
Yeah.
And so this unit still hits pretty hard, but it's kind of, and it's like, it's kind of in a nebulous space. In Stormlance, you still run these. You can make an argument for them in any other detachment. They're still really good, but they still need to move around terrain. They are durable, but not extremely durable, so they still can die like to the right profile. Yeah, overall, I still don't know how I feel about them. I'm gonna have to play some games, but they kind of got side graded, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. At 100 points, I think they can be good in any list. They don't. How do I word this? They're not the center of the army anymore. They don't.
No,
they don't float the whole army.
They don't, and they don't control space anymore. You know what I mean? They used to control space with a blood surge and potentially reactive move.
Yeah, they can block space still, and they're cheap enough that you're not worried about losing them. Because now a 6-man is still cheaper than the little 3-mans with 2 characters we were running. So it can take, so it still can jail decently. And if they dig through it, who cares? All your real damage is coming behind it. So I think they're good. They're just a completely different role than before.
Completely different role. And you're right. They're no longer a centerpiece of the army.
Centerpiece, that's a good word for it. Then we have Wolfguard Terminators, who they're good, but they have the same problem the Head Takers and a lot of our stuff has, is a Strength 5 problem.
Yes. Everything in the whole book is like Strength 5.
Yep, except for some of the characters. So we got 6-inch move, T5, 2 up save, 4 up invuln, 3 wounds, leadership 6, 1 OC. They can take an assault cannon on one guy, and he also gets a power fist. But they come Stormbolter power weapon. You can swap the Stormbolter out for a shield. You can give the pack leader either Relic Great Axe or Twin Lightning Claw. I think the Great Axe is the right choice there. The Storm Shield guys go to 4 wounds. So you could give the whole squad Storm Shield, or they already have the 4 up. So I've been giving my leader the axe.
Nope. Yeah, you definitely want the 4 wounds for the Storm Shields. But it can be a fun Relic Great Axe for a couple extra attacks. These guys, I think, are not for damage, more for durability.
Yeah. Well, I run that because only the Sergeant can take it. So I've been running that because it's another -2, 3 damage going with Arjek and Logan. So they can really kill some big stuff. And you got to dig through 4 wound bodies before you get to the 3 wound body. So unless it's damage 3 specifically, if it's damage 2, it's the same. So it's like, I like running the 1 Great Axe personally.
Yeah, and it's fun. I would probably do that as well. -1 to wound, couple with 4 wounds pop and they're cheaper. They're 170. They're cheaper than other Terminators. So I think this is like a really well-costed unit. Logan with 5. I played 1 game. I like him. So yeah,
they're cheaper, but we don't have access. And then the rugged resilience is real nice. If their strength is higher than their toughest, we get the -1. So this, real survivable. Real good at killing elite, like infantry type stuff. With the characters in the Great Axe, they can pump okay into bigger stuff.
With lethals or +1 to wound or something like that.
But if they don't have the character with them, they will struggle to punch up at all.
For sure.
What else? Oh, Fenrisian Wolves. 5 or 10 mans. They got a 9. If you move within 9, they get a D6 reactive move. Other than that, they have the same thing as the Hunting Wolves, +1 OC within 6 of a character, Space Wolf character, and their profile is exactly the same as the Hunting Wolves.
Yeah, I mean, decent. They went up in points.
40 points, yep. But they can get OC now, so I think that's worth it. Like, that was my biggest gripe with them before, was they couldn't get OC.
More wolves, Kurt says. Yeah, I think this is a slight upgrade. I'm still considering if I'm
Kurt's
going to run
just
these
mad
guys.
because he used to run 45 wolves when you take the 15-man squads.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's the thing. You can take 6 head taker wolves. You can take 18 head takers and 30 wolves. So you can run 48 wolves plus thunder wolves. So a lot of wolves. A lot of wolves in this army.
Yeah.
Oop.
So they actually take up. That's the Codex. Anything
Oh,
else?
no, we still have more. We're missing some. We're missing Wolfen. We're missing the Dreadnoughts.
Oh, Jesus. There we go. All right. I'm stupid. I forgot we had more. All right. So Wolfen, 9-inch move, T6, 4-up save, 2 wounds, leisure 7, OC 0. Storm frag. But to get that, they have to give up the death totem, which gives them reroll hit rolls of 1 in melee. So I think you keep the death totem for the reroll in combat with them.
Totally. Yep.
Because the regular Wolfen are sustained hits 1, but only 3 attacks, strength 5, negative 2 damage. So the profile's decent, but the amount of attacks is low.
Yeah. And they have an odd rule. If you fall back from them, you have to take a desperate if you're not a monster vehicle, -1 if you're battle shocked. It's kind of an okay rule. It doesn't, it's an okay rule.
I wish it was more like the 8-band, like, oh, test, and if you might not be able to fall back. That
would be incredible for sure.
Yeah.
This regular unit, they're 16 points a model. They're relatively cheap. They're like okay durable. They're okay fast. They got +1 move. They got +1 toughness. They lost the feel no pain. They got OC.
And this unit is still a 4-up save, and this unit can't take the invols. So
Correct.
This unit is a lot less survivable than the other version of Wolfen.
Yes, correct. But they're cheaper.
Yes. So then Wolfen with Storm Shields, 4-up invol. Other than that, their stats here are the same. Their Thunder Hammer is anti-monster, anti-vehicle 3-up, which is real nice, but it's only 2 attacks. Strength 5, neg 2, 3 damage. So once again, the strength's a little low and the attacks are low. And they don't have sustained like the other unit does to help balance that out.
Yep.
This is why maybe if you put a battle leader in them in Beast Slayer, the sustained will help balance out the lack of attacks.
For sure.
But otherwise, just 2 attacks, just hitting on 3 is just a little lackluster to me.
Little lackluster for sure. Their rule is after you hit a vehicle or monster vehicle in combat, if it lives, it's -1 to hit. It kind of sucks. It's a really bad rule because these are designed to kill monsters and vehicles. You're putting so many 3 damage wounds onto them. They really will kill any vehicle and monster. And if they don't, they're already -1 to hit for being in combat. So it's like it's such a weird rule.
Well, they just know that they gave you only 2 attacks per guy that you're probably going to whiff into the stuff you want to kill.
That's probably right. I don't know how I feel about these Wolfen. How do you feel about them?
The attacks are just so disappointing to me. Like, if these guys were 3 and the others were 4, I'd be a little more excited about them. But like, they used to have so many attacks back in the day. Their hammers used to be strength 10. Like, this is just, at least you got the anti-monster, anti-vehicle 3-up. And they're 100 points for 5 of these guys now.
Yeah, 100 points for 5, 20 points a model.
They're T6, which is nice. I do like the T6.
Yeah, I would say their durability went down slightly because a 6-up feel of pain usually mattered a lot against 2 damage weapons.
Yeah, I think you have to take a 10-man if you're taking them and give them the battle leader.
Yeah, in Beast Slayer, there's no way you're going to take 5 of these guys and expect them to do anything reliably. Because 10 attacks, hitting on 3s, rolling 1s, wounding on 3s into vehicles, so unreliable. Saving on 5s, like it's so unreliable. You're either going to do 15 damage or you're going to do 3. Like it just is not it's just not reliable. I think 10 mans are where it's at. They do a lot of damage to monsters and vehicles in 10 mans. They slap monsters and vehicles.
Now you can run 60 of them and just swarm them across the board. That'd be funny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you could.
30 of each, yep.
Murder Fang. Saying, I wish we got new models for them. Yeah, the old models have some good ideas, but they're really wonky. So I wish me too.
Yeah. All right, so Murder Fang made the book. I was pretty sure he wouldn't.
Didn't expect it.
Nope. So movement 9, T9, 2 up save, 8 wounds, leadership 6, OC 0. Feel no pain 6. Heavy Flamer Stormbolter, that's the same. Murder Claw. Sustained hits 1 and twin linked. 8 attacks, 3 up to hit, strength 14, negative 2, 3 damage. That's the same. So I think the sustained hits 1 is the only thing he gained.
Yep.
It balances out what he got in Champions of Russ.
Yep.
He lost his infinite fight rule, which really, really sucks. So now Wolfen units within 6 of him get a 4 fight on death, which does apply to himself. And then he can reroll advance and charge rolls he makes.
Wow. Yeah, he changed so much. He actually stayed the same points. I think he's still 170.
No, he went down to 160. They changed
160.
He's 160, but for 10 points, you lost infinite fight. Now, if you're running a Wolfen heavy build, him giving the 4 fight on death, now he becomes real interesting.
I mean,
that affects him, the Wolfen Dreadnoughts, and the Wolfen.
That's probably the only way I would take him. Other than that, he'll kill one thing that he charges and then just die immediately. He's so fragile.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is what they always did, but you rapid ingress him, got him on a flank, and he could kill 3 things before he died.
Totally. Yeah, he used to be a game, like a really fun model that can change games. Now he's, I think, a really expensive trade piece, unless you're running an all Wolfen army, and then he could be really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, he's... And then here's the Wolfen Dreadnought. Movement 9, T9, 2 up save, 8 wounds, leadership 6, OC 0. All our Dreadnoughts do move faster, though. That is nice.
That's pretty nice.
So they still can take the Fenrisian Great Axe, which has a strike and a sweep, or the Great Wolf Claw. They can still take the Blizzard Shield for a 4 pinball, I believe. Yep. So they have, each time an unit is selected to shoot, after this unit has shot, if this model lost one of our wounds as a result of this attacks, this model can make a bestial rage move. To do so, roll 1d6, adding 2 to the result. This model can be moved a number of inches up to the result, which means to move as close as possible, close to the unit. So basically, they get a blood surge that gets +2 to it. So they're going between 3 and 8 inches.
Yeah. I don't think this is that good because you can still shoot him. He's somewhat durable with a 4-up invuln and a 6-up feel no pain, but he's not that durable. Yeah. So all in all, I don't think he's like super great. Yeah.
No. And if he takes the 2 melee weapons instead of the shield, he gets twin link.
It's twin link.
I think
twin link's good. Do decent damage.
Yeah, if you run a couple of them together, maybe it's something, but I don't think you run one.
Yeah, not really. I don't know. What are the points cost? Do you know the points cost for these guys?
I think let's see, where is it? 145.
No, way too expensive. I would need them to be at like 80 or 90 for me to consider them.
Yeah. Then Venerable Dread moves 8, T9, 2 up save, 8 wounds, leadership 6, 3 OC. Salt Cannon Flamer. He can take the health, which is nice. Multi-melt the Stormbolter. Dreadnought combat weapon, Fenrisian Great Axe. He can also, I believe, take the shield. Yep. So there's some different shooting options to the Wolfen one. And he gives +1 to advance and charge rolls for spatial units within 6. So I don't know. That's okay, rule, but he's 140 points.
That's a little expensive. +1 advance and charge, kind of really niche. Although I am thinking this is the only way to get a charge buff. Could be really useful. I mean, I think he's a little expensive for that, but he could be really useful for giving turn 1 charges, 8-inch charges. Other than that, I would not take him.
But he'd have to be within 6 inches of them.
Yeah. A little too niche, a little more.
I don't know how many units he. Yeah, I don't think he's worth. All right, so this everything.
Yeah, that's it. Whew, wow, that was a lot to cover. Matt, I think you're still cutting out a little bit, but we got through the Codex. Okay, you're back now.
Yeah, that's probably our... Sorry. That was a lot to cover. That's probably our longest video yet. but I think it was worth it.
Definitely was worth it. So, what are your thoughts on the new Codex?
It's not everything I wanted, but there is some good stuff into it. The models we're getting are amazing. So I think I can find ways to make it viable. I don't know that it's top tier or anything like that yet, but I think I want to see what because I think that might be our highest potential.
I think I caught the end of that. You're talking about our highest potential detachment. Is that what you were saying? Yeah, we're losing you, unfortunately.
Sorry, am I back now?
Yeah, I think you're better.
I think. All right, cool. I was saying I think Stormlance. I'm interested to see what you do with it because I think that is our highest potential with what we have in these sheets right now, until they remove some of the restrictions on us, if they do.
Yeah,
if they ever do.
It's going to be a really weird codex. This is the most unique Space Marine codex that we've gotten. Dark Angels, Blood Angels. This plays so differently. You have to think about it so differently. We don't have AOC. There's like really weird restrictions. There's very weird mechanics. You can only take some enhancements on some characters. Only some stratagems can go on others. It's really restrictive, but it is very deep and it is very powerful. I would say 8 out of 10 data sheets. There are 20 data sheets. So I would say 16 out of 20 data sheets are very good. There's a handful in there that are like not good, but I would say 80% of our data sheets are amazing. So we're going to have to find
every character.
Yes, every character. It's going to be a different codex. What we had didn't survive. Thunderwolves didn't survive in the same way. Champions of Russ didn't survive in the same way. But I think it's you can see there was a lot of thought that went into this. They thought about the restrictions. They thought about the points cost. They thought about what units could do. I think it's a very deep book.
Yes.
Could be top tier, but we will have to see.
Yes. Yeah, I don't think it's. I think it's A, maybe low A. I don't think it's bad, but I don't know that it's S. It's not S. It's not like broken.
Only time will tell, really.
Yeah.
So
I think it's going to take skill to win with this army.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kurt, you're screwed. Oh, sorry, just kidding.
Mm-hmm.
But no, yeah. So I was a little disappointed when I first read it, but the more I'm playing around with it and the more I'm digesting it, I'm really happy with it.
It seems like there's a lot of complexity to it, for sure.
Yep.
I'm happy with it. We got a lot to chew over, a lot of games to play, a lot to test out.
Oh, yeah. So. Yeah, so that's to say, maybe we'll get some test games in, and maybe next week we'll do more of a ranking of everything in the book.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to get a couple more test games in this week.
Yeah, and I'll make up get all the profile, the pictures and everything for the ranking system thing. Tier list. That's tier list. Why couldn't I think of that?
Yes.
All right. Well, guys, thanks for sticking with us, even through all the issues. I don't know what's going on with Spectrum today. They've been going in and out all day. We get emails and messages saying they're out and then they're back. They're out and then they're back. But hopefully next week we won't have so many problems. But thank you guys for watching as always. Thank you, Aiden. Always love when have someone on here to talk wolves with, especially
pleasure, man. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. This new codex is really interesting, really fun. The models look amazing. Always great talking with you, Matt.
Cool. All right, guys, we will catch you next time, and thank you for watching.
All right.